as well, in indicating that we had not explained to Advocate Surunye the overarching purpose of the crime intelligence matters.
Which she said was what?
Racketeering and state capture.
And did she explain the state capture aspect?
She addressed Advocate Surunye trying to explain that the Mokwele arrest was similar to that of the Celebi judgment and that of the Zuma Sheikh judgment. There was disagreement about that because in those judgments, it was clear what the quid pro quo would be, even though there wasn't a specific agreement. And yes, the gratification or the quid pro quo would come in effect later on, but it was evident from the relationship what would be expected, versus the Mokwele matter where it's just a mere statement of in the future to do what? So that was the to and fro's that were happening. However, Advocate Johnson then got agitated and took over and wouldn't allow us to speak and laid down the law that these matters are going to proceed and that the investigating officers are going to explain to the prosecutors what the evidence is and how we should interpret it and understand it and prosecute it.
So it was in effect to persuade Advocate Surunye that there was a case on the Mokwele matter, or were there other matters discussed?
There were two other matters discussed. In my statement, I later deal with the Madondo Khumalo and the Mule Kumalo arrests, which are two separate issues. Advocate Johnson in that meeting indicated that irrespective of what Advocate Schlatzwayo and I had presented to her in July already, those matters will be enrolled.
And we see there you have 3 bullet points. The second bullet point on your note says CI IDAC equals is the state capture. And then the next bullet, circumvented in an arrow in anticipation of. What was she discussing there?
Advocate Johnson was telling Advocate Surunye, Advocate Schlatzwayo and myself that the crime intelligence investigation done by IDAC is actually state capture, and that's the reason IDAC was created, formed, and that these matters, these specific matters, were state capture, and she kept repeating state capture. With regards to circumvented, she's speaking about the promotions and the ads being withdrawn with regards to the Mokwele matter and then re-advertised externally. So circumvented meaning that, and it was in anticipation of, and then there was an explanation that
her father's employment in the Hawks and being charged.
What was they were trying to explain here was that the quid pro quo would then be equated to the fact that General Khumalo was giving gratification to Brigadier Mokwele's father by appointing her.
And there's a reference to, it says there's a docket that relates to her father, and then it says uncle and Labia. What is the reference to Labia? Is that General Labia?
Yes, there's a docket that relates to her uncle. It's supposed to be a slash or father, and the docket is with General Labia. Or they're going to obtain the docket through General Labia.
And if we then go to page 77.
Ms. Mule, before you leave that page, The entry at page 74 still, the entry right at the top, what is that about? What does it say?
The first entry with the dot under
Yes.
the names, and we need to finalize the charge sheet, Khumalo matter.
And that's a different matter to the Mokwele matter.
It's the same matter. It was referred to as the Khumalo matter, or we referred to it as the Khumalo matter, being myself, Advocate Shlatswayo, and Advocate Sirunya.
And this is on the 1st of September. It's a
Correct.
meeting on so at this point, there was no finalized charge sheet yet. And yet they have been arrested. Can you just explain what happened?
After Advocate Sirunya came on board and he was listening to us and we were explaining that there's no crime of corruption, he also picked it up when he read it. And that's how the second charge sheet, it was at this point that the second charge sheet of Section 21, conspiracy, was drafted.
What Advocate Sirunya referred to as the amended charge sheet.
Correct.
Is that what you're referring to?
Yes, correct.
I see. Thank you.
And on page 77, there's another entry in reference to the charge sheet. So at the bottom of the page, just before the arrow that says Mokwele's docket, it says, I can't see the first word, it says just have to beef up charge sheet in equal corruption. 77,
We just have to.
do you see it?
Yes. Beef up charge sheet, equal corruption, Mokwele's docket.
So part of the discussion here was to beef up the Mokwele charge sheet to the corruption charge in the Mokwele charge sheet.
With regards to this conversation, it was more the investigators telling the prosecutors what evidence is there to beef up the charge sheets to prove corruption.
Okay? And then if we, because we have dealt with this aspect quite extensively on these discussions, I want to go to a different aspect that was discussed at that meeting on page 80.
Yes?
Sort of towards the end of the page, there's a reference to IGI, page 45 to 75, part 2 report.
Correct.
What is that?
Commissioner Beloy asked me a question last week about IGI, whether an IGI meeting took place. So in order for us to understand this paragraph, I need to explain the first meeting and then this. So in January, Mr. Sissoko arranged for a meeting at IGI. We had a meeting with Advocate J. Govender and another member of the IGI legal team. Where they indicated, yes, they were tasked to do an investigation, but they cannot share their findings with us. Because of their mandate and the fact that they are regulated by a different act. And their reporting lines are very different. So, in essence, there was some words exchanged. So Advocate Govender was addressing me through the meeting. We were discussing, I asked her how many different crime intelligence matters, etc. So she did indicate that they are in the process, they are consulting with witnesses based on certain complaints. She was unable to give me any witness names. So Mr. Perumal got agitated to a point where Advocate Govender even said to him, your cowboy tactics is not going to work on these cases. We left that meeting. It was, I did say it was a fruitless meeting because we couldn't assist them and they couldn't assist us.
Sorry, you couldn't and they couldn't assist you. What was the purpose of the meeting when you went there?
With IGI, like with other investigations that had been completed previously during the Zondo Commission period, they are able to assist because the report has been completed. But because this was still in the process of investigations, sharing of information could not take place. So, Commissioner and Chair, we left that meeting, and Mr. Perumal then wanted to arrest Advocate Governor for Section 34 for not willing to assist us. And there was this whole thing where I had to pull out the IGI Act and explain to him that they have their own. But that's just on a side note. But it was just to give you an explanation of how things were being done.
Can I just interject there? So this is the meeting that Mr. Sissoko also testified about that he attended.
Correct, in January 2025.
And did you obtain any documents at that stage?
No, nothing was shared with us.
And the discussion was about crime intelligence investigations, current investigations that the IGI was investigating?
Correct.
Okay.
Based on complaints that they had received.
Okay, so you leave that meeting and you did report back to Advocate Johnson saying that it was a fruitless meeting, and she says she's not surprised.
Yes, correct.
Okay. And then we now in September.
So we're in September, and Mr. Perumal is explaining various things about how Advocate Schlatzwayo, Advocate Saruni, and myself are not understanding the evidence of the Mokwele docket. He then tells us that the minister, being Minister Mkunu, arranged for someone to fly to Eastern Cape to him and provide the IGI reports.
And this is the IGI report that was prepared in respect of the crime intelligence investigations undertaken by the IGI.
Correct.
Which you were told at the time in January they were still busy with investigations.
Correct. And my understanding of those reports is someone very high up has to approve that we share that information.
Okay, so what Mr. Perumal communicated in that meeting was that Minister Mkunu arranged for someone to fly that report, a hard copy of that report, to Mr. Perumal in the Eastern Cape.
Correct.
And the IGI had given that report to the minister?
Correct.
Okay. And in terms of what legislation or powers did the IGI give that report to the minister? Was there an explanation as to, was it commissioned by the minister, report commission or investigation commissioned by the minister?
It's unclear. I just know that that report was not supposed to come to us in that way.
Okay, do you know it wasn't supposed to come to IDAC via the minister?
Correct.
Okay, and why do you say that?
Because the IGI, I had read the act prior to going to have the meeting with Advocate Governor.
In January? In
January. There's certain procedures and processes that must be followed in order for that information sharing. I had also spoken to Advocate Lowe, the deputy director who's retired now. He was dealing with a matter that IGI and him, or that team, were sharing information. There were channels that had to be followed in order for that information to be shared.
And did Mr. Perumal say whether Advocate Johnson was aware that he had gotten the report from the minister?
Yes, in my notes, there's, in one of the notes, there is a note, just a note down that says Dylan must call IG. But in this meeting, Mr. Perumal indicated very clearly that the ID is aware that the minister has arranged for this report to be flown to me.
Okay, I'll ask you to find that reference during the lunch adjournment, but for now, so that is what he tells you about how he got the report.
Correct.
And does he say anything else about the report in that meeting? Because you have a reference that says page 45 to 75. I would assume that's page 45 to 75 of the report.
Correct. It's even he's even telling us which part of the report is relevant. Mr. Perumal then WhatsApps me the IGI report.
If we can go to page 600 first, and you tell us why you took a photograph of this. File 10, part 2. This is a photograph of a letter dated 2 April 2025 addressed to the Minister.
Correct.
And it's on the letterhead of the Office of the Inspector General of Intelligence. Before you read the letter, can you tell us why you took a photo of this letter?
I sent it to the evidence leaders to show that we are in possession of an IGI report and all the correspondence, or the correspondence that's attached to it.
Okay, can you read the letter into the record, and then I'll ask, then we can go to the WhatsApp where you received the report.
It's addressed to Minister E.S. Mchunu, MP, Honorable Minister of Police. Dear Minister Mchunu, investigations on matter of crime intelligence in terms of Section 7, subsection 7C of the Intelligence Services Oversight Act 1994, Act 40 of 1994, Oversight Act. Our correspondence dated 24 March 2024 regarding the above subject matter refers.
Just
That
to,
date
I
must
think
be
it should be
25.
2025, yes. But it's not, you're not the author,
I'm not the
but it
author.
makes sense that it be 2025. Continue.
In said correspondence, we appraised the Minister on the progress made in respect of the investigation and the outstanding interviews with specific officials from Crime Intelligence Division of the South African Police Services, SAPS-CI. We were advised on the 27th of March 2025 from the Chief Financial Officer, CFO of SAPS-CI would not be available for an interview on the scheduled date due to prior planned leave and would be available on the 8th of April 2025. Based on the foregoing, we are unable to meet our envisaged date of 4 April 2025 to conclude this investigation without the critical contribution of the above-mentioned official.
And who was the official, the CFO, that was being referred to?
It would be Mr. Lushaba.
Where is the rest of the letter?
I have brought the documents.
Chair,
Sorry?
the witness brought the document this morning with the report. We still need to discuss with the NPA releasing allowing us to use the report. It's the first time anyone has had sight of the report, and she brought hard copies. She didn't send an electronic version. She had received it via WhatsApp as well. This was just the photograph that she had taken initially to show us that she does have it. But she's brought it this morning with her. We will then deal with the I think there's a page 2 which has the signature and
Yes,
a short
correct.
note, so we'll deal with it then during the
So
lunch adjournment.
The report is the letter.
We have this is the covering letter, and there is a 77-page report.
I'm asking about the letter. The letter is incomplete.
Yes, there's a second page, so she just took a photo
Okay,
of the first page, but she's brought the covering letter with both pages and the report itself.
Okay.
Yes. We can go to page 601, which is then the WhatsApp where you receive it, and this would have been, let me just get the correct page. It's not 601, it's 612. Just bear with me, 609. 609. Chair.
Ms. Nube, you will guide, because you're dealing with the report, you will guide whether this question can be answered on or is subject to you getting approval. My question is, you've looked at the report. What was the complaint that the IGI was investigating? And I'm happy for you not to answer if it falls under you need to get consent from the NPA. Is it one of those?
I think I would rather, once I get consent, then I'd be able to explain. But at this point, because the report and I don't have the authorization from the NDPP, if I mean, reserve that.
All right, that's fine. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloy. We'll sort that out during the lunch adjournment. The second page of the letter reads paragraph 5. In this regard, it would be appreciated if we could present our report containing findings and recommendations on Thursday, 10 April 2025. 6, thank you for your attention and consideration of our request. Yours sincerely, it's signed by Mr. I. Faisal, Inspector General of Intelligence. And then it says investigations on matters of crime intelligence, investigation of alleged irregularities pertaining to procurement of buildings, validity of recruitment process, and security clearance of senior member of South African Police Service, crime intelligence SAP-CI. That was the investigation, Chair, but the report hasn't yet been perused until we've dealt with the issues with the NPA. So if we can then go to page 609, this is where you receive, this is after the meeting of 1 September where Mr. Perumal tells you how he got the report. And we can see 2 September, this is from him to you at 1451, IGI report PDF, 77 pages. We can confirm that the covering letter is 2 pages and the report is 75 pages.
Correct.
Okay. Now, back to that meeting. He references page 45 to 75, and he must have then had a discussion with you as to what 45 to 75 contains, what it deals with.
It dealt with the appointments and vetting aspects, yeah.
In respect of the matters that IDAC was also investigating?
Portions, yes.
Portions, so more than what IDAC was investigating, or was IDAC investigating more than what the IG was investigating? Or were they identical?
I can't pinpoint exactly how, but I do remember that Advocate Sarunya, myself, and Advocate Schlatzwayo read the report, and Advocate Sarunya also sent an email based on it saying, I read the IGI report and it takes us no further.
And insofar as the IGI report is concerned, we know now that Mr. Perumal gets it through the Office of the Minister.
Correct.
And you say that you know that IDAC is not supposed to get it that way. How were you going to use the report if it was beneficial or if it was corroborative of IDAC's investigation? Was there a discussion about that?
It's the same thing as the email that's subject heading secret, where somehow, some way, Mr. Perumal got, I think it's General Particular's disciplinary assessment report on all the, so it's the Mokwele and the 6 others. So when he emailed it to us, the subject was secret. And so the discussion stemmed that it was going to be used for intelligence purposes, but prosecutors don't use things for intelligence purposes. And I think that's also what stemmed Advocate Surunya's email saying it takes this case no further.
But when he was discussing the report, because you hadn't seen it at that stage, but he was discussing it, was Mr. Perumal saying that it is supportive of IDAC's investigation and the charges that you were pursuing against the crime intelligence officials?
His words were, "It's golden."
Okay.
So, yeah,
It was.
was in support of.
Do you know if Advocate Sarunia also got the IG report?
Yeah, what happened was when, because Advocate Sarunia doesn't like WhatsApp, so it was WhatsApp to me and then printed. So we printed 3 copies for the 3 advocates to work off.
Okay, and so after he then perused that, he said doesn't take the matter any further?
It takes the case no further, yes.
Okay. Then I'd like to move on to...
Maybe before you move off this, you say in the past you have had cooperation with the IGI office in other matters.
Correct.
Ordinarily, what is the process for you to get that cooperation and to get their reports?
It must
for
be
your people?
finalized.
How does it work?
The report must be finalized.
Yes.
And then it must be given to the authority that controls the IGI or requested me, the president, the minister's office or whatever.
Okay.
But that report is only supposed to be released once it's finalized.
Yes.
And then there's mutual legal assistance that we would then sit and discuss, okay, portions of this, guys, we're going to have to redact. You can't use it. We cannot disclose it to you. Portions we can disclose in terms of just for you to guide where you might possibly want to go for your investigations. But it would never be the full report.
Yes.
And it would only be the finalized report.
So just to make sure that I understand, in the normal course, this report that you end up getting by WhatsApp, you say in normal proper course, it would have come from the IGI to whoever is the authority that the IGI reports to, be it the president or the minister responsible for the IGI. And then it would go to IDAC directly or to the Minister of Justice, Minister of Police. I just want to understand how Minister Mkhunu would, if things were done properly, how he would end up with this report. To your knowledge, from your experience.
From the way, because the only other matter that's getting assistance from IGI is under advocate law. So when I was going, because I was walking in blindly, I had not dealt with the IGI previously. So when I asked for assistance on how it works, it's a confidential document or a top secret document. It also has to be declassified before it comes to us. So this document was not declassified. It's still in its raw confidential or top secret form.
That's contrary to how it's normally done in the normal course. It would have had to be declassified for you to look at it,
Correct.
To be able to work with it.
Correct. And there needs to be, so like I was explaining, in the mutual legal assist, you would then agree, paragraph 4, guys, we're redacting. Paragraph 5, you may use for this purposes. I'm not disclosing these witnesses.
Thank you.
Just explain this in your discussion with Mr. Perumal. What did he say you must do with this report? Because he's sharing it with you on WhatsApp. Did he say you must read it and then what? Assist you in your prosecution of the ongoing matters?
Commissioner, the way it was explained to Advocate Sarunia, Advocate Shratswaya, and myself, it was after we read it, the advocates will have a better understanding of what we're supposed to prosecute in the Mokwele docket.
I see. But you say this was a draft, it was not final? Or it had not been sent to the relevant people who were supposed to get it, whether they are a minister or a relevant body?
All I know is that the minister sent the report that IGI refused to give us to Mr. Perumal. And in terms of the act and the mutual legal assistance that we usually, it's not proper procedure.
Thank you.
And it's being shared on WhatsApp.
Did I hear you to say the minister gave it to somebody who went and delivered it to Mr. Perumal?
Mr. Perumal's words during the meeting on the first and then repeated on the second was that the minister made arrangements for someone to fly with the report to meet him in Eastern Cape or East London to hand the report to him.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I now want to deal with the bail amendment and the application, the bail appeal on the
Section
Mokwele
63.
matter. Yes. So when Advocate Sarunia gave evidence, he explained that he was involved in that process. You were also involved in that process. What we want to understand was what was Advocate Johnson's involvement in that process and the decision-making by Advocate Johnson during that process. Now, we know that there was an application by the accused to amend the bail conditions insofar as, particularly the one that we're interested in, is the bail condition that they were not to enter into any crime intelligence offices throughout the country.
Correct.
That formed part of a bail application in terms of